How's it going, YouTube? This is Skull, and in today's video, I decided to show off my Pokemon music collection. I've been collecting Pokemon CDs for several years now. In fact, I have so many, I wonder if I possibly have the largest private collection of anyone in North America. So I decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and actually show all of my Pokemon CDs off to you guys. I've got a nice mixture of video game music, anime music, English, and Japanese to show off. So I thought I'd start off by just showcasing this. This is the soundtrack to Pokemon Heroes. This is, you know, my favorite Pokemon movie, and I own the CD. So yeah, I got way more than just this that I'll be showing off today, but I thought that I would start off with this just as a nice little hook. So my order of doing this is roughly going to be all the English CDs, followed by the video game soundtracks, followed by my Japanese CDs for the anime. And I guess we'll see if I could stick with that. Stuff might be a little out of order, but for the most part, these are in chronological release order. So let's go ahead and get started with the classic English release of Pokemon To Be a Master. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably had this disc. A lot of memories with all these songs. You know, the Pokemon theme, I have that on repeat all the time. All the songs from the anime. My CD here still has this little coupon. I wonder if it still works. Do you think Nintendo would still give me a $15 rebate if I bought a Game Boy Pocket and sent that to them? I guess we'll find out. Or not, because I'm not getting rid of that. Are you kidding? Anyway, so that was the very first Pokemon CD ever released in North America. Next, we've got Pokemon the First Movie soundtrack, music from and inspired by the motion picture. So this is the collection of pop culture songs that are played in the movie or inspired by the movie or just random stuff that Warner decided to throw onto the disc to help boost up sales. Man, this is peak 90s. If you want a taste of what the 90s were like for a 90s kid, just give this CD a listen. Give the music on the CD a listen. I have this. This is probably my most listened to CD of all time. I still listen to it these days. It just brings me back to when I was a kid again. Next up, we got Pokemon the First Movie original motion picture score. So this is the background music that plays during the film. This is the, in English, for the first three movies, it was a completely different score from the Japanese version. And for the first film, they actually released it on CD. I love film scores. It's one of my favorite genres ever. I've been listening to film scores ever since I was a little kid and collecting them. And yeah. As I recall, this actually was kind of hard for me to get a hold of when I was first getting it. I think it's a little more easy to get now. When I made my Pokemon the First Movie fan dub, I heavily used this CD and the Japanese CD to get all the music I needed. It was very useful for that. You guys, man, this is, I can't emphasize enough. If you want a taste of what the 90s were like as a Pokemon fan, listen to these. You will not be disappointed. We've also got the single from the movie by M to M, Don't Say You Love Me. This is just a single CD. So it's a normal CD with an exposed back. It just has the song and then Mewtwo Strikes Back Suite. It's like a collection of songs from the score all put together into a single song there. Also, if you put this in your computer on a Windows 98 machine, you get all kinds of extra stuff with Hyper CD technology. Not much of a reason to own this because everything else is on the other discs, but it is a CD released in North America. And moving on, we got the Pokemon the Movie 2000 music from and inspired by the motion picture. Most, if not all, of the songs on this actually do have something to do with Pokemon, or at least Pokemon 2000, so a lot less random on this. I like the first movie one better, but this one still has its place, of course. Man, I love the old stuff, man. Then we've got the single from Pokemon 2000, The Power of One by Donna Summer. RIP. You legend. And again, this is just a CD with the song on it and nothing else, but it's an official release of the song. And yeah, promotional copy, not for sale. Well, whoever sold that to me is going to get in trouble, I guess. Then we got Pokemon World Collector's Edition Enhanced CD. Comes with screensavers. Anyone else remember when screensavers used to be a selling point of discs? Comes with Pokemon World, Pikachu's Winter Vacation, and the instrumental of that. So it's a little better than a single. I guess this is a sampler CD. It's still enhanced though. And this is official, released during the Johto era, which by the way was the best era. Then we got Totally Pokemon, more music. It's basically a spiritual successor to Be a Master. Comes with a lot of songs from the show. In fact, I'm pretty sure all the songs here appeared in the show at some point. So yeah, I remember this being a rather difficult disc to get. So maybe it's easier these days, but I remember struggling for a while to find a good deal on that. This one took me a long time. Pokemon 3, the Ultimate Soundtrack. So this is a mixture of the score and the soundtrack itself. And it includes a lot of the songs from Totally Pokemon. So I think the only 3 songs in here that are from the movie are the Pokemon Johto movie version, To Know the Unknown, which is the end credit song. Britney Spears is in there somewhere. And the medley from Spell of the Unknown, which is kind of like the medley from Mewtwo Strikes Back, where it's a combination of songs. I'm so sad the score never got a proper release. I would have loved to have listened to that. This CD is expensive, or at least it was last I checked. This is one of the last discs that got a release in North America and collectors collect, so glad I have that. Next, what we got, Pokemon Christmas Bash. Just a lot of Christmas songs sung by the cast of the show. Most of these never appeared in the show itself. They're just, it's a Christmas album by the cast. Man, this is something that we lost when 4Kids stopped doing the show. We may have gotten more accurate localizations of the show, but we missed out on Christmas cast albums, man. Then we got Pokemon X, which released for Pokemon's 10th anniversary. This is basically just a collection of the opening themes from the show, as well as a selection of the biggest hits from the first few seasons. So we got the Pokérap, we got To Be a Master, Pokérap GS, a ton of them. So that's what this is, just a mixture, a compilation of the openers for the show. And I just love that it is a Pokeball CD, just like To Be a Master. I bought this brand spanking new in a Walmart store in the year 2006. Yeah. Let's see. That was the last release for a very long time until Pokemon Detective Pikachu released, and we got the soundtrack for that. And I'm so bummed that the end title song isn't in here. For whatever reason, the credit song isn't here. It's just the score. Very glad that the film got a soundtrack release, though. It's not a guarantee anymore that films do, or if they do, sometimes they're only released in foreign countries. But nope, we got a North American release. So that was a 13-year gap, I guess, between 2006 when this released and 2019 when this released. Yeah, and then we had another gap leading up to Pokemon's 25th anniversary. This is Pokemon 25, the album. With this horrible cardboard sleeve thing, at least. Oh man, that wasn't even the right side. There's the disc. It's just Pikachu tail. It's nice. And it's a collection of songs from some well-known pop artists these days. You know, Katy Perry's Electric's the standout, but I've also got, what, Post Malone. You guys could read. Anyway, and this was, I believe, a Target exclusive, the only way to get the soundtrack physically. Which sucks because, ironically, if you bought it digitally, it would have come with more songs. If you buy the physical version, it's the downgrade, but gotta own them all. And the final CD that has been released so far in North America is this single for Electric. Bulbapedia doesn't even list this, but this is a CD, so it's that's what it is. It's just a single for Electric. And thanks to this, I now own every single Pokemon CD released in North America. With one exception, I am missing the soundtrack to Pokemon Live. That rarely shows up on eBay, and when it does, it goes for a lot of money. Way more than I'm willing to spend when I could just listen to the music online for free. So yeah, other than that, I own everything, so I'm happy. What did I say I was going to show off next? Did I say the video game soundtracks? Well, don't mind if I do. So all the soundtracks have been released in Japan. This is the soundtrack for Red and Green. I believe this is an original first printing. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure when they reprinted it, they did it with different art. I've got to try and figure out how to do this quickly. I've already spent 10 minutes blabbering, and I'm not even a quarter of the way through my stuff. I got to figure out a way to make this go faster. So this is what the soundtrack looks like. Really, really cool. How they made this all put together like this. This is a 1996 release too. Really awesome. How is this done? I don't remember any of this. There's like a map in there. There's a pamphlet. This is not wanting to go back in. I got to figure out a way to speed this up. Sorry, guys. I guess I'll just have to put that back together later. Next up is the soundtrack for Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. I keep them in this in these baggies that they come in. It helps just to keep everything together. Plus, to me, it's like part of the packaging. So, the front, we've got this insert for Charizard. The actual cover art is Blastoise. The back, the cover is Venusaur. And the inside, we've got an Ultra Ball and a Master Ball for the 2 discs. It's pretty cool, I gotta say. And again, I guess I'll just have to put this back together later. So yeah, I am missing a lot of soundtrack CDs. Most of them go for way more than I'm willing to spend. But I have most of the recent ones, starting with Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. Yes, I'm missing Black and White, but I found this. This was cheap. I pounced on it. So we got Black Kyurem on the front, White Kyurem on the back. Open up. We got a disc of Black Kyurem. We got this pamphlet. We got this disc of White Kyurem. There's the Obi. That's what these things are called. The wrap around the spine. So on a store shelf, if you had seen this, it would have looked something like that in its bag. So we got Meloetta there and there. So whenever you see Japanese, well, pretty much anything, music, movies, they usually have that. It's called an Obi, as an Obi-Wan. And then the other 2 discs have Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, and Rayquaza, Giratina, for whatever reason. People have a soft spot for Gen 5. I'm not one of those people, but people do. Next up, we've got, this is pretty cool, the soundtrack for Pokemon X and Y. I love this just because of the unique art. Look at this. Have you guys ever seen this art of Xerneas and Yveltal anywhere else? You want to see something cool? The back is Mega Mewtwo, and it looks like that. Doesn't that look awesome? This is something that I feel like has been lost with Pokemon these days, is that Pokemon used to be so mysterious and dark and like mysterious. Now it feels like we just know everything, partly because of the internet. Anyway, so the discs are Xerneas, Yveltal, Mega Lucario, and Mega Mewtwo X and Y. Next up, we've got the soundtrack for Pokemon Sun and Moon. And again, we got the unique art on both sides. We got this amazing art of Solgaleo and this art of Lunala. Like, these just look so cool. The number one reason I collect anything, really, but especially CDs when I can just listen online for free or subscribe for higher quality, you're missing out on all this art on the case, on the discs. So we've got the island, man, they're not the kahunas. What are these? The island deities here. So we've got Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Fini. And that's what the 4 discs are. I just think that's cool, guys. Yeah, that's part of why I make these videos, is to show it off, just so you guys know what they look like, because a lot of people probably wouldn't otherwise. Next up, we got the soundtrack for Let's Go. So we got Let's Go Pikachu, and as expected, Let's Go Eevee on the back. Or is that the front? Hard to tell sometimes. We got this booklet. Like, this is a big booklet just full of stuff, concept art, layouts. Like, it's just, that's a pretty cool bonus. So we got Pikachu on this side and Eevee on that side. I'm sure we're all used to seeing those poses. And the discs, we got, I can't remember what their names are. That girl's name is Elaine, I think. I can't remember what his name is. That's annoying. And then inside, we've got a third disc, which is the soundtrack for Pokemon Yellow version. The original. It never got a release until this, so they included it as a bonus. And this was actually the final video game soundtrack to release ever for a very long time. I think something like 5 years before they finally released the next 3 all at once. I think it was maybe 6 years. It was a while though. Anyway, then they released the next 3 all at once, and I got all 3 of them all at once because I loved all of these games and I wanted to hear their music. So, starting off with the Pokemon Sword and Shield Expansion Pass Super Music Collection. So this comes with the Sword and Shield music and all the music from the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. And that's what the back looks like. So we've got Calyrex and Urshifu there. And let's see, inside we've got the Galar starters there. That's what the Obi looked like. We've got their evolutions there. And the final evolutions here. And their Gigantamax versions over here. What little you can see of them. I think that was really clever how they made that. Yeah, man, I have a soft spot for Sword and Shield. Like, I know people like to hate on them, but I had a lot of fun with those games. Then, of course, we've got Pokemon Legends Arceus. One of the best games in the whole franchise. And so the back there, we've got the new Hisuian versions of the starter evolutions. The front is just the cover art, nothing too special there. And yeah, we've got the starters there from the game. Got Origin Form Palkia Dialga. The starter evolutions there. And their final evolutions there. And then we've got the Weather Quartet. No longer Weather Trio. We've added Enamorus. I love these games. I mean, this game in particular. I think everyone can agree this is like a true breath of fresh air for the franchise. I know people said it's basically Breath of the Wild with Pokemon, but it's good, so I don't mind. And then the most recent games. Well, I say that. Legend ZA just got a soundtrack release and I don't have it. So, anyway. This is the most recent game that I do have. This is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet plus the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero Super Music Collection. So, this is the game and all of the DLC in a single release. And unlike all the other releases I've shown up until now, this includes 6 discs instead of just 4. That's how much music is in here. So we got Ogerpon and Terapagos there. And it actually comes in a nice slipcover. Pretty cool. Here's the booklet. I would die for Sprigatito. And it just comes with all this extra art and goodies, like, again, stuff that you'd miss out on otherwise. And this is what the cover on the inside looks like. And the back looks like that. So I believe these are the promotional covers for each of the DLC expansions and the main game. There's the Obi. So let's take a look at the at the discs. My goodness. So let's just start over here. So we've got Nemona on that. Then we got Arven and Penny. So your 3 rivals of the game. And then over on this side, we've got, this is the final disc actually. So let's say we've got the Blueberry Elite 4. Lacey is my favorite. And then here we've got the Team Star leaders. And we've got, finally, Carmine, and his name is slipping my mind right now. I apologize. That's embarrassing. But yeah, her little brother. So yeah, 6 discs to handle the music from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Just perfect, just awesome. Yeah, we got Legends ZA does have a release, but I don't own it yet, so be on lookout. Okay, next up, I'm going to go ahead and show off my Japanese anime CDs, and I'm going to start with these because these are some oddly shaped cases. Let me start off with this one. I'm pretty sure this was the very first Pokemon CD ever released anywhere in the world. This predates To Be a Master by a month or two. You're probably wondering, what's the deal with the shape? I mean, let me go ahead and pull up another CD. This is a normal CD case. This is that beside it, on top of it, compared to it. It's taller, it's thinner. So what gives? Well, this is a sampler CD. This is a, I forget how big this is, 8 millimeters. It's a tiny, tiny thing. But if you've ever seen a GameCube disc, that's how big this is. It's as big as a GameCube disc. It works just fine in music players. I've put it in my computer, I've ripped all the music, no issue. But in the beginning, when Pokemon music was coming out, I guess they just decided there wasn't enough to warrant a full release, so they would just make these tiny sampler discs and release them that way. And this was the very first one. I wish I could remember what it was called. Let's see, Pokémon Tame. It says Tame. I don't know. TV anime. Tamer, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so this, I'm pretty sure, was the very first ever Pokemon CD. Next up, we've got, I've got a whole pile of stuff about that size. So next up is the single CD for Together with the Wind, which is the ending song for the Japanese version of Pokemon the first movie. I believe that there's 4 songs total on here. But that's the main draw. So if we were to open it up, it looks like that. There's the poster from the film. Now, I have a lot of nostalgia for Pokemon the first movie. I think I have every single CD release from Japan and America for Pokemon the first movie. Just love it so much. Next up is this CD for The Rivals, which is one of the TV openings. Pretty sure this is the second or third. Anyway, so yeah, and it came with this little ruler here of Pikachu. Pretty cool. Oh, it's backwards. There we go. Yeah, I remember when I got this, actually. This was completely unopened. I was the very first person to actually open this, which is like, holy cow. This released like, how long ago? Easily over 20 years ago. It might be over 25 by now. And yet I was the very first person to ever open it up and see what was inside. Okay, next up we've got Meowth's Party, which is one of the ending songs from the anime in Japan. With some really early CGI work. Let's see. Then we've got this single for The Day a Rainbow Was Born, which is the ending song to Pokemon 3 Spell of the Unknown in Japan. And this is the only way to hear that English version of the song. It's sung by the same person who sung it in Japanese, sang an English version of it. This CD is the only way to own a copy of that in English, and it's so beautiful and eerie and haunting, but it's bittersweet, and it's one of the best songs from the whole show, if you ask me. Then we've got Pokemon Hara Hara Relay. Something Relay. Hara Hara Relay. It's another one of those ending songs starring the Pichu brothers. Anyway, oh, front's coming off. Oh, wasn't expecting that. I'll have to take care of that later. This is the last one that I have that size. So this is Best Friends. That's what the name of it is, the name of the song. And it's another one of those endings. Boy, with the silhouette there, it almost looks like Ash is in his Hoenn outfit, but I know that's not true. I think this was a late ending song from Yeah, this was from 2001, so this is from the late Jodo era, almost before Hoenn. The only other CD of unusual size that I have yet to show off is this. This is the CD for the Together with the Wind single from Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. It's in this really big postcard size box, so it's way bigger than this. And it doesn't quite fit on the same shelf as one of these, so it just sort of lives on its own. But yeah, there's the single. It comes with a couple of songs. It comes with Together with the Wind, and it looks like that one is Type Wild. And then instrumentals of both, and then a bonus track. Pocket Fantasy. I actually could read that. Let's go. I'm sorry if I was quiet for too long. I had to read it and then translate it in my head. Anyway, now moving on to the actual regular CDs from Japan. I've been going for 25 minutes. I want to apologize, but also not really, because this is my collection. This is my video. I can do what I want. I'm going to spend some time talking about this. This is the Japanese soundtrack for Mewtwo Strikes Back, the first movie. This is a huge package and comes with a lot of stuff. Not the least of which is this booklet, which details the origin of Mewtwo. So it's like a full-blown graphic novel of the radio dramatization of when they were bringing Mewtwo to life. I won't show much of it for reasons, but yeah, like this is a full book of that dramatization. And then if you wanted to, this is the soundtrack. And if you're wondering what in the world is going on here, this is a radio dramatization of the origin of Mewtwo. The first 10 minutes that were cut out of the English version got a radio, like, hour-long dramatization in Japan before the movie released, and it's included on here. So that's what the first disc is. It's the birth of Mewtwo, essentially. And then the second disc is the soundtrack for the movie itself. I gotta tell you guys, like the story of Amber, her name is Ai in Japanese, like that changes the mood of the film completely. If you have never seen it, look it up, or watch my fan dub, because I dubbed it and did it justice, or at least I'd like to think I did. It just makes the film so much more interesting and makes Mewtwo such a more tragic figure, and brings the show in places where it never went before or since. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I'll try and go a little faster now. So we've got the single here for Ready Go, and that's what the disc looks like. So this is right when Johto was beginning. I'm pretty sure this is the, yeah, okay, Ash has his bay leaf here. So this is the equivalent opening of Johto League Champions. Make sure I'm putting these in the correct order over here. Then we've got my soundtrack for Pokemon Heroes. This is a very rare, very expensive CD, and I don't know why. Pokemon Heroes has always been my favorite Pokemon movie, so so I had to get this, and I found this for a really good price one day and pounced on it, never looked back. This is even rarer, but not many people know about it. This is the single from Pokemon Heroes. This is the ending theme called You're Not Alone. It's just a single CD, but man, look at the design. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so evocative and beautiful? I love this film so much. I mean, even just looking at this imagery of them racing through the waterways with Latios up there, like, it makes me want to go back and watch it all over again. Next up, we got the soundtrack for Jirachi Wishmaker. Not much to talk about there. I am missing several movie soundtracks, but I also have a lot of movie soundtracks, more than a lot of people do, so not really in a position to complain. Most of these I just picked up from Buyee, just threw in a $5 disc there, a $10 disc there, and that's where most of these came from. So this is it says Perfect Best, 1993 to 2003. So this is a compilation disc of some of the biggest songs. It looks like it's mostly the opening and ending songs. Or are these just the opening songs, actually? Anyway, from the first 7 years of the franchise, that's what it looks like. And this booklet is so thick that it wouldn't slip into clips, so they had to leave it alone. So we got all this art here on the inside. Again, this is stuff that you would miss out on if you just listen to the music online. Get to own some high quality stuff. What in the world? I guess this is dance information on how to dance with some of these songs. Advanced Generation was awesome. I feel like it's become the lost generation. People didn't watch it when it came out. They rarely rewatch it these days. People usually skip straight from the original series, the end of Johto. They usually just go straight to Diamond and Pearl because that's usually seen as better. I loved Advanced Generation, and I'm so sorry that more people don't know more about it. Man, I am having a very hard time reading that right now because it's all pixelated. Challenger, that's what it says. It says Challenger. This is the opening to Challenger. The Challenger opening. That's the name of the opening song. Which I believe was their equivalent of Advanced Challenge, which would make sense. Then we got the soundtrack for Destiny Deoxys. That's what the soundtrack disc looks like. It's just Pikachu. I think they would have put Deoxys or something on there, at least Plusle and Minun because they were in the film, but I guess not. Next up is this. This is a really rare release. This is the not exactly a single, but there's only 2 songs on here. We got Spurt, which is the opening theme for Battle Frontier, and then we got I Won't Lose, Haruka's theme. Haruka is the Japanese name for Mei. And this is the only way to own that song. Mei is my favorite Pokegirl, continues to be my favorite Pokegirl, and I wanted to own her theme song physically, so that's why I have this. And man, that disc just looks really nice, honestly. Though the cover looks nice too. Let's see, we got the soundtrack for Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. This might be the best movie soundtrack. It's usually seen as the best movie. I'm not going to disagree with that. The music by itself is probably among the best of all the films. The soundtrack just looks really cool too. Then we got the soundtrack for Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. And that's what that looks like. You guys remember when they used to tease upcoming Pokemon in the previous generation? Every single Pokemon that you see here, except for Pikachu, are Gen 4 Pokemon, but this is a Generation 3 film. Man, I miss when they did that. About the best that we've gotten is Gimmighoul going into Gen 9, and that was about it for a while. So I miss when the anime just showed off upcoming Pokemon without apologizing. That used to really be cool. Next up, we've got this. A collection, a compilation. It's another Perfect Best 2. So I own 1, and this is 2. So Perfect Best 1 went through 2003, and number 2 goes from 2003 to 2006. And it looks like these are all the opening and closing songs from the anime during that time. I love how the disc is Pikachu's back there, or tail, sorry, tail. Next is the soundtrack single for Together, which is the opening for Diamond and Pearl Season 1. No back to this, surprisingly. It's just a naked disc, and mine didn't come incomplete. That's just how it was sold in stores. I believe Japan has like over 100 Pokemon CDs. I do not own anywhere close to all of them. We got the soundtrack for Giratina and the Sky Warrior. Great film, actually. I think this is one of the more underrated ones. The music is really good. I love this version of 1, the ending song. This version on the disc is actually a music box version instead of the one that's heard in the film, and it's just really pretty. So we got different pictures of Shaman there, and different snapshots from the film behind it. All right, then we've got Pikachu the Movie, Song Best 1998 to 2008. And this is, I believe, all of the opening and ending songs from the movies. It sure looks like it. And it looks like it also includes the songs from the Pikachu shorts that played in front of the film as well. It's a double thick disc. This one is horribly faded on the OB, but that's okay. So we've got disc 1, That just says it's a rental copy. I bought these secondhand, okay? Sue me. Disc 2 and Disc 3, and it looks like we've got all of the stars of the films on each of the discs. Pretty cool. And it goes all the way up through Giratina and the Sky Warrior. Why they decided to release it in the middle of Diamond and Pearl instead of waiting a year or two, no idea, but they did. Next up is the, oh, this is actually the single from Arceus and the Jewel of Life. This is High Touch, 2009. So this isn't the ending song, this is the opening song. It's actually a duet with Ash and Dawn, fun fact. So there's the back. We've got Spiky Ear Pichu. We got Pikachu Color Pichu, who doesn't appear in the film. And that's what the disc looks like. I love collecting these singles. People don't really go after them. So they're cool. Then, I should have shown this first, sorry, is the soundtrack for Arceus and the Jewel of Life. This is my wife's favorite film. I actually just recently rewatched this after setting up my surround sound. Watching this movie in Japanese with 5.1 is actually kind of a trip. It's kind of a fun, deeper experience than I remembered watching it on my crappy YouTube videos 2009. So we got Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and then Arceus on the disc. And the background, I guess that's the current lineup of the Sinnoh starters that the main characters have. All right. Then, it appears I do not own the soundtrack for Zoroark. I thought for sure I did, but it looks like I don't. Anyway, another very, very faded copy. This is TV Anime Pocket Monsters original soundtrack Best 2 from 1997 to 2012. So this is another double size case because this has a lot of music on it. So I'm pretty sure that this, you know what? Then again, maybe it's just double sized to stand out on a shelf because that's all there is. I'm pretty sure this has all the openings and endings. Holy cow, there are 50, there's over 100 tracks. How many are there? 50 plus 65 plus, yeah, no, 58 plus 65. There's 123 chapters on here. Holy cow. 123 tracks on here is what I was trying to say. My goodness. Yeah. Wow. And these are actually songs from the anime, like background music, like soundtrack, score stuff, not the songs like I've been talking about. So nothing sung, just background stuff from the anime all the way through 2010, so all the way through the end of Diamond and Pearl. Let's move on to Best Wishes. With Best Wishes, this is the sampler from the opening theme. Best Wishes, that's the name of the song. Got a big shot here of a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon. We got the starters and Pikachu in the back there. This show started out so promising. I don't blame them for sort of fizzling out. It's not their fault. There was an earthquake which shot down a lot of their plans, but it started out so strong. I'd say the first 40 episodes are actually like really good. You watch those and the Victini movie, speaking of, and you're going to be pretty satisfied. But after that, it just fizzled out and petered out, and everyone just sort of agrees, yeah, it's probably the worst show now. It's so sad. It started out with so much promise. So this is a double soundtrack for the Victini films because there were 2 Victini films. There was Pokemon White, Victini and Zekrom, which I saw in theaters 15 years ago and proposed to my wife afterwards, and Pokemon Black, Victini and Reshiram. Although in Japanese, this is Pokemon White and this is Pokemon Black. Not confusing at all, I'm sure. And it's a broken case, but there's nothing you could really do to work with this art, unfortunately. So anyway, the CDs are just Zekrom over there and Reshiram over there. Nothing too fancy behind them, just screenshots from the film. Put that back in there. I've been going for 40 minutes. We're in the home stretch, folks. If you're still here, write the word pineapple in the comments. No one's going to know what you mean. So this is the opening for Best Wishes Season 2. And I can't remember what it is called. It's just called the opening theme. Be an Arrow, if I remember right, was the opening too. I love Samurott. It just looks so cool in this pose. But yeah, Best Wishes Season 2, it had promise. They brought back Dawn. But again, it just sort of petered out. Yeah, Be an Arrow is the name of the opening. So that's what the disc looks like. And we got Meloetta in the background. Introducing Meloetta and the Team Rocket arc finally wrapping up. It had promise, but then you had a whole half a show left after that. What are you going to do, right? We got the soundtrack for Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice. Not much to really talk about here. It does include music from the Meloetta short. This was the first Pikachu short to go with a film in 10 years. The last time that had happened was with Jirachi Wishmaker. That's a nice, clean-looking disc, though, I gotta say. Then we've got the soundtrack for Genesect and The Legend Awakened. Again, not much to really say about it. Just by the end of Black and White, I was watching it, but I didn't really care, so yeah, unfortunate. Then this is interesting. We've got this. I'm not sure what this is called. I'm having a hard time reading that. That's mostly kanji anyway. But this is a CD focusing on the Evolutions. You guys can look this up and tell me what it is in the comments. It's a Pokemon CD that I didn't have. It was cheap. Then we're down to our last few CDs here. So we've got the soundtrack for Pokemon I Choose You. People often say that they should have kept the Japanese music. I have the Japanese version of the film. I think I prefer the English dub. This definitely is like, it's the old music from Gen 1, but I feel like the English music actually like fits the mood of the scenes better. It has more emotion to it. This is more just like nostalgia. It's not bad. I just prefer the English version. I love this film. Like, this is my second favorite film after Pokemon Heroes. Whoop, and I almost just knocked all my CDs over. Saved it. Let's go. The final movie soundtrack that I own is Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Don't know if Coco got a release. It must have. Or Secrets of the Jungle is what it was called here in North America. Yeah, Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Got that. And the final CD to show off to you guys. So you know that scene in Detective Pikachu where they have Psyduck in the baby seat in the back and they're playing spa music so that Psyduck doesn't explode? This is the music that Psyduck was listening to. This is all just spa music. I don't know if you would even call this Pokemon music, but it's Pokemon adjacent. It counts. It says Psyduck's name right there. It says Pokemon Healing. Pokemon Healing. So it counts. That's the most recent CD I've got. And that brings this video to an end. 45 minutes it lasted. I'm kind of sorry it lasted so long, but also not really. I had a lot to show off to you guys. So let me know if you guys collect Pokemon music as well. Let me know if you own anything interesting, and I would love to see you guys' collections if you want to, ping me on Blue Sky or whatever. Well, that brings this video to an end. I've still got plenty of more collection videos coming out throughout this year, so make sure you're subscribed and all that stuff. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more.